Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Toonkind at 12 frames per second. My name is RJ, and I am joined today by...
Hey everyone! It's me, Vwild! On the bullshit, never getting off of it, just a different tone today.
Hell yeah. This comes off the coattails of a couple different FPSs. So if you haven't listened to Attention Everyone, or Pulling Some Strings, or the fuck was the Cassius safety is called? I didn't actually look at the announcement.
That's actually afterwards. That's afterwards.
Oh, that's afterwards? Okay, fantastic. Alright, so it's just those two then.
Thought ahead.
Good. It's just those two then. So it's coming from the tails of those two FPSs. So if you haven't listened to those, some things in this one might not make sense. And it kind of carries over the Angst Warning from Attention Everyone a bit, because we're discussing things that came up with that. So this is your forewarning roll credits. Anyway, Lin has challenged the card man to make a perception check like the fool she is, so I'm just gonna casually roll that.
I, the Vwild, always love to see these extreme rolls.
Listen, if this was Pathfinder, these would be actually kind of shit modifiers.
I know. What was it? Plus 39 to stealth was your entire moniker for a while?
Yes. Plus 36. Plus 32 to stealth, actually. Which, you know, casual.
Only 32.
Only 32. I mean, you know what, I'm not going to discuss the mechanics of that. We're not playing Pathfinder right now. Anyway, that was a number that is high. 28? I think? Yes, 28 on that perception check. Where the fuck is this monkey?
Alright, so as he's making his way up to the manor, he's got really good eyesight now. Is in Rhea scale, because I'm not going into the mechanics of Devil's Sight or whatever the pick.
It's dark vision. Halloween Town is not mechanically dim light, but it is dimmer, so it's just a little bit brighter than he's used to. But yeah, he's still seeing in color.
She's not at the front door, but you can see her off to one side, like as though she's left the building and then gone off to just slightly out of sight of stuff to basically have a moment. You'll see more as you get closer. You do, however, see her make a motion, and then you can see very clearly buddy planes just flying off into the sky. Only a few, but she is just doing stuff.
Okay.
How close does he get before doing anything?
Well, he doesn't want to be yelling across the fucking square, so relatively close, maybe 30 feet.
He does. Then he would have noticed she is starting to get up where she'd been sitting. Full on brace against the building, stand up. With your incredible amount of sight, you can see it's not tired. It is this half-lit gaze of someone who's in thought and thinking about multiple things. It's somber without looking incredibly distressed. And she does just start walking.
Okay. Okay. Decimal size before, how would he do this? Okay, so his boots of Elvenkind make his steps inaudible, So I think he intentionally, like, clacks his cane against the ground so that Lin can hear him coming.
Mm-hmm. And with her passive perception of 22, you do get the ear twitch in your direction. Then she does turn, and she has calmed down from, like, out of character. She's calmed down from everything that went down in that entire tension, everyone, but she did go up all the fray points. So she does look, she looks a bit sketchy as she's just turning and just look. Then there's just an eyebrow raise, just slightly, and a nod.
Are we doing this inside, or do you want to do this out here?
And Lynn takes a moment, like, right hand going to her brooch for a second, and then with her left hand signing network.
No.
That gets a sharp look.
I sent Craigie to Network to go take a fucking nap. And promised him 4 hours. I'm going to make sure he gets those 4 hours.
How is he?
He pauses, trying to find the words. And then takes the hat off his head, inspects the brim for some imaginary lint, brushes it off, and goes, "Not great, but doing better. I can explain more when we properly start having this conversation, so I ask again, out here or inside?"
Roll me insight.
Gladly. Oh, that's good. That's really good. That is over 30.
Wow.
Yeah, that is 32? 32.
Okay. You, like, Lena's been holding up her hand to sign, and Decimal, you can see. You're having one of your better pain days. Lynn, after all that, is having one of her worst. And you know from how many incidents you guys have been in together that she always goes back to network and rests for a few days when stuff hits the fan. And you can see the clench of her jaw, not out of frustration, but out of the sheer fact she can't go to the place that brings her pain relief right now. And she is actively, she doesn't want to have this out in the open. At the same time, she's struggling to figure out how to go, we could have this in the manor, or I could just strong arm my way into being at my house. Because the choice has been taken from her.
Roll perception.
Mm-hmm. Is a 13 plus 12.
Perfect. How familiar is Lynn with the bedazzled mood ring?
Pretty decently, seeing as she almost got one herself.
Perfect. It is purple right now. If she pushes, Decimal will push back.
Fine. Indoors. Or... And she kind of stops trying to think whether a place in the garden would work. But no, indoors might be better. And so she does just go indoors. Turns on her heel. And yeah, as she was signing, there was a click from her hand. Just turns on her heel and just starts walking towards the manor door.
Mm-hmm. Decimal will follow. Let me just roll. Your passive perception is 22, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, just enough. Okay, so Lin doesn't hear what Decimal mutters because he rolled a 23 on his stealth. But for sake of audience, Decimal mutters under his breath. Can you get Asclepius to make a pot of tea? As he walks in. And we'll follow Lin to whatever room she chooses to have this conversation in.
God, this... I can't... She wouldn't go to the kitchen, even though that's her comfort place in this place, because shit happened, people are probably in the kitchen. Is there a parlour or something in this manor? Like somewhere to chat?
Okay, so there's a guest sitting room on what we call the first floor. For Americans, it's the second floor, the mezzanine kind of floor, that you could use. Elsewise, the private wing of the house has a sitting area, or the dining room would also serve this purpose.
I think she'd go with the private wing because this stuff is probably going to get interesting. And I gesture at how many people come through this building. Yes, I know there's sound dampening stuff. Lin still likes privacy.
Understandable.
So she would lead to the private wing, to that room there.
Right.
And then just and a comfy seat.
They're all comfy seats. They're all like, you know those like stereotypical overstuffed, really, really worn, soft and comfortable like armchairs and shit that you find in like grandparents' houses.
Yes.
With the really comfortable cushions that have like hand knitted covers or stuff like that. It's like that.
Yes. Yes. Lin has still designated one of these the comfy chair from when she has visited. No, she will not be able to tell you why this special one. It is. She's like this. I'm sorry. But she does just go in, get in that chair. In fact, with how close they got at some points, Decimal would have been able to tell there was the smell of pumpkin spice from Lin. She may have used Prestidige a couple of times to, get rid of the tear track marks and everything and make herself look presentable. That was before all of this happened. She did that the moment she was stepping outside, because she likes having composure.
Decimal will sit opposite whatever chair Lin picks.
She gets comfy and then she just hands in front of her. Right, let's... No, right's gone. Right's gone for today. That was a 10, which means she rolled a 2 on the dice.
Oof.
No. So she tries, and the hand will not unclaw. And so she just puts it on the brooch and then just continues signing with only the left hand. Just, how much do you know?
The pact problem has been sorted. Outside of that, he was, shall we say, a little too overcome.
On anyone else, it would be pretty much only the eyes widen. You full on see the what expression overcome her face is just, wait, act problem solved. How? What happened? How's that work?
Roll perception again. Or, no, actually, roll investigation. This is an investigation roll, not a perception roll. You're looking for specific details.
That is a 17 plus 8.
Perfect. Decimal size. Tilts his hat down so that the shadow falls further over his face and leans forward, giving you a really good view of the way the new pupils in his eyes dilate slightly to take in a little bit more light. And he goes, "Lest everyone forgets, I am technically a demigod."
And you see their eye widen, but also a slight smile in the kind of surprise morphing into holy shit, morphing into relief.
The thrall was not happy. However, they also forgot that sending allows a response, and unless they want to reply back, I think I got the last word in. So.
There's a look that crosses her expression just for a microsecond before it smooths over and she just goes, good. That deals with one problem. Now. Good. Right. It's a good thing that we're in Halloween Town, because if you'd showed me that anywhere else, I would have magic missiled you in the face, because different eyes is a very clear indicator of something. I'm glad we were in neutral territory.
Well, now I question who else it would be.
I have got a ridiculous amount of not enemies, opponents, changelings. I like changelings, unfortunately.
That's arrogant of you. Why do you assume it'd be to do with you? Maybe I have enemies. You don't know that.
True. True. And admittedly, where you were coming, I actually don't want to think about this for my mental health right now, but also I've had a god literally come into my home and terrorize me before. It was not a fun experience. I would rather not repeat that. Although getting to throw the haymaker was satisfying.
It tends to be. Regardless, we're getting off topic.
Indeed.
What else is there to worry about? Because I'm certain Craiger couldn't tell me everything.
Indeed. Top of my head. Well, I was actually going to come and talk to you at some stage anyway, so that's good. We'll talk about all of this at another point. And she gestures at his eyes and then just goes, so, you know about the pact side of thing. That was the thing that came up during the meeting, not why it was called. And Lin does take a moment to try and articulate. And with your passive insight, there is a deep emotion in this. There is frustration, but not specifically at a person you don't think, and irritation and hurt and a lot of stuff just spreading out in the open that is working to be untangled, and she just goes, Craigery found out some information about his ink That was interesting.
I'm sensing a but.
First of all, it was something that Thrall is incredibly interested in. The ability to make thaumaveors.
Decimal's eyes narrow.
Turns out his ink can do this. He found out 2 weeks ago.
And that's an issue because?
He didn't tell anyone here. Instead, he decided to go to a rogue entity outside of town. Quite a distance, and turns out that rogue entity was someone being monitored by our certain disliked green-eyed compatriot.
Alright, a foolish move in hindsight, but how was he supposed to know? And that's not a facetious question, I am genuinely asking that. How was Gregory supposed to know this?
It wasn't. It's straight up. There wouldn't have been a way for him to know unless perhaps he'd know.
Then what's
even
the real problem?
The fact that Thrall now knows, and the fact that we didn't know for 2 goddamn weeks. This was... Oh, pick and hick, you knew this before.
The Thrall knowing is admittedly an issue. However, I'm failing to see why Gregory has to tell everyone every breakthrough he makes about his design. A man is entitled to a little bit of privacy.
I know. I know this, it's just... He's well within his rights to, I know. The fact that this was something... And she goes to sign something and then she stops. And then she just closes her eyes for a moment. He promised to tell if anything ever happened again, any secrets like this happened again. Promised me.
And that's the real issue. You feel betrayed.
One of 2 issues. The other one is I wouldn't have minded if he'd gone to someone within Halloween Town. We trust the people in Halloween Town. I thought he felt safe here. If he'd gone to someone within town, I don't know. Information would have still been present. Feels. That's not a matter of concern.
I think it is. You're clearly stewing over it.
Not stewing.
Your design begs to differ.
We went through a lot of stuff right now, and I do not have to tell you about my medical stuff, but...
Neither does Gregory about his. Especially if, by the sounds of it, he went to an outside source to confirm it.
I get that he was getting as much information as possible for the meeting. I understand it. I can still feel a way about it, and that is valid.
So when you run off half-cocked, it's fine, but when someone else does it, it's a bad thing.
Oh, when I do it, I'm a pickin' idiot. And that's the thing. When I do it, I'm a pecking idiot. When he did it, it wasn't great either. Okay, I get where you're trying to do. I get why you're doing this, but I'm not gonna blow up at him when I see him next. You know that, right?
Decibel opens his mouth to respond, pauses, then doesn't.
I have made terrible impressions on you.
Just a bit. Then again, I can't say I've made the best on you either, so.
I am hurt. I am feeling betrayed. Because we talked over this after everything that happened with Henrik, and I placed my faith that if anything happened, he would come to me. However, I do understand where he came from. I understand why he did it, and I know him. And no matter what, I love him, and we can talk this out.
Does he know that?
He knows I love him. I said that right before he left.
Does he know you still love him?
I said that as he left. If I haven't conveyed that through everything, then
I've no doubts that you've tried. But considering, well, you'd know better than I, it can be difficult to remember.
I know. Which is why I want us both to cool off. If we had gone back to network, I would actually have opted for us to go into the garden. It's shielded, but he would have still been inside. He deserves a good rest after this. He's been through a lot. We'd talk when we were both ready. And I would have ensured we did have a talk, but he comes first in this.
Perhaps we wouldn't have been in the same room. But network is still connected to you, and still, if not directly feels, then at least reflects your emotional state. And you are, at the moment, rather troubled. Network would have had to split focus between you and him. And I have no doubts, in my mind, who comes first in that equation. After all, it's why she doesn't fucking let me in the building.
Seeing as I can tell that someone did go in. Yeah, someone did go inside. Network loves Craigery more than she dislikes you.
Well, yes, that's not in question. What is in question is whether she loves you more than she loves him. I think she does.
Indeed, but she would have still let him in, and she would have still been warm for him.
It's still not the thing in question. You're misunderstanding me. My point is not that she wouldn't let him in, it's that she would have to focus. This way, she can focus on him.
I get it. I get it. Okay.
Do you?
I can't articulate it out loud, unfortunately. Yeah, I get it. Truly. I have some faith in me, Decimal. And she does look at you for a moment, and then she just shakes her head and just, anyway, we learnt about the Thormavor stuff. We got talking about Roll's plans with Erasure. Things came up. Some views that Craigery held flagged up a few warning bells. Stuff came out on that front. I'm sure. Seeing as you've talked about pacts and this, you would have negotiated things between each other and found out all the brass tacks on that front.
We did speak, yes. I am aware that the influence a higher power can have on someone in their hands. We aren't certain yet the extent to which I will influence him, he will influence me. But we are both aware that it is a thing that can happen.
Mm-hmm. And we'll be able to help with any of the lingering habits from the past influence.
Indeed.
She does flex her hand for a moment as though she's going to say something and then waves it. Just we see other things that happened in the meeting because you're heavily involved in this. Learned a bit more about Thrall. It was interesting.
Do tell.
We learned how they were made, which is rather fascinating in a rather horrifying in a rather poor Jacques, actually. I probably should. I'm going to make him a pie. He needs space after that. And then she basically gives the rundown of what they were told in the film reel that Jacques saw, or as best as he told everyone else. So, telephony.
Literal game of Chinese whispers.
Yeah.
He will listen intently, wince accordingly, and then realize, so we know what he looks like, or looked like, at the very least. We know what the Thrall's face was.
Indeed. I also think we have his name. It's something Hugh said after his kidnapping. All of that. It's something he mentioned to me afterwards. In that the name they keep going by, Matthias. They went by it with Memoir. They've said it several times to Craigery, and they say it with Hugh. In fact, it's the same form every time.
Matthias Overland.
Indeed. Apparently, when Hugh asked if that was even their real name, I think they said something along the lines of it was once. Matthias used to be their name, that was it.
Son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm. Well, it gives us something.
Not something useful.
Oh.
Who Matthias Oleand was, they died well before anything we could access. Even if we were to get to this place in Faruma, even if we were still standing, I highly doubt, considering the state of Ongum these days, that anything records-wise survived.
Indeed. Might still be useful in other ways, though. From what Craigery said, every now and then Thrall would have a more personable day. Not something we can bet on, but well, playing on that, every edge you get is one you can stick between an enemy's ribs. Might come in handy.
You think, what, perhaps we can rekindle whatever scant, faint remnants there are of Matthias, or something? I don't think it's going to work like that.
Heck no, I think we can abuse the hell out of it.
And do what exactly?
There are inevitable moments that are to occur. It might be useful when the time comes on that front. Just
roll insight.
Do is a. If you're rolling, I'm not gonna beat you. I know your modifiers.
I mean, you might. What'd you roll?
That is a 16 plus 6.
That's 22. Aw, damn. Well, that's a damn shame.
24. You have guidance, Lin doesn't.
Yeah, without the guidance, Lin actually would have caught it. Never mind. Keep going.
We are going to do the best we can with the circumstances we've been given.
God, how positively cliche.
This is Ankwell, bitch.
I'm fully aware I'm as much attuned as you are, jackass.
I know.
I'm just saying, it's so fucking cliche. God.
Well, we can throw more cliches into the fire as we go, I guess.
I'd rather not. They don't burn particularly well.
They make pretty colours. But speaking of inevitable moments, I was actually, as I said earlier, interested in talking to you at some stage.
That's so.
Indeed.
Well, we are conversing. What did you want?
And she does sit slightly different, a little more straight backed, a little. I have not got the words, bless me. There is a focus to it. There's been a focus all this time, but now it specifically seems to be a focus on you, as she just goes. Decimal, how many times have you met Thrall?
Ah. Yeah, I was beginning to wonder if anyone else noticed that.
Indeed. Roll of 3. You, Gibbs. And while you've snatched Craigery, that's not an in-person, so it's more fuel than the third. We are also fully aware that...
It's not fuel.
Elaborate.
It isn't the number of times I've met Thrall, it's the number of times that I've... Without me, Hugh would have been thrown into the darkness and succumb. Without me, you would have had to deal with the mangled state that Gibbs was in, whilst trying to take back its heart. And without me, Gregory would still be under their power. It's not the number of times I've met the Thrall, it's the number of times I've fucked up their plans.
Indeed. I understand this. My wording was off, especially as I know you've met them in the first place, which brings me on to the next topic of it all drawing together. When you threw that card, when we were getting Hugh back, you threw that card at Thrall to stop them from doing something to me. They had a voice signature. They, as a changeling, perfectly replicated. And she's going to sign something, and you see her hand shake slightly and her jaw lock. She just goes, "The being that influenced me." They know the person who hurt you did everything to you. They've got slightly... Sorry, you go?
He just quietly corrects Lin and says new.
Indeed. Visual and voice. And we know that Thrall has mind control, and from what Hugh's been able to tell me and from certain things I've witnessed, has portents. Now, I don't know... Well, I know about people like Lucian with mind control and such. Thrall, you're an ace up the sleeve, Decimal. You're a thorn in their side, and they will either burn or use you, and quite frankly, you're an incredibly efficient rogue. I have seen you in fights. We have fought together multiple times, and I know how you are in combat. I know they'd like...
the ego stroking, yes.
And you see her... I'd like to say it's an unreadable expression as she's looking at you, Decimal. That you rolling frickin' dice.
No, that was me cracking my knuckles.
Good. Yes. She is just... You already knew everything I was going to say.
Well, I am a fortune teller.
And what do the cards tell you?
Let's find out. And he is going to pull out his cards from his hammer space, and drag closer a table, and I have to remember where the fuck I put my cards. He's going to do a reading.
Oh my god.
Obligatory bastard showman roll. 18 plus 12, 30. Fucking 30 sleight of hand. Obligatory showman roll. Shuffles the cards into a few different piles, puts the piles together. Does a quick riffle shuffle, quick little trick here and there, and then offers the deck for you to cut.
Lin, you know what? Screw it. She's gonna try and do one-handed shuffle. I will roll at disadvantage.
Just cut the... You don't have to shuffle it, just cut the deck.
I don't know what me, the Vwild, don't know what cut deck means.
Okay, so if you cut a deck, you have a deck in hand, right? It's, you know, all in one part. You take a number of cards off the top, maybe a couple, maybe a few dozen, maybe half or most of the deck, and you put them on the bottom of the deck. That's what the cutting the deck does. You just it's supposed to help prevent people setting up hands on the top.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I won't roll on that front, but she does.
Yeah, you don't need to roll to do that. Okay. Oh no. Alright, well, that's a Dark Lord. That's... oh no. Is that in the position that I think it is?
Great. We brought out the cards and now they're doing shit.
We did bring out the cards. We did do this to the us. Let me pull up my motherfucking list. There we go. That, no. That, and that, and that, and that. And then... okay. And then I need that one as well. Okay, yeah, I did get them in the right places. Okay. You know what? That does make sense. That does make sense. That makes a lot of sense, and I'm mad about it. Alright. Oh boy. Right. One second while I type out these things.
Oh, dang it, no one can see my dance.
No one can see your dance. Sucks to suck.
It's a majestic dance. It would wow the crowd.
Ooh, that's a rare one. Okay, that doesn't usually come up. That is... Okay.
Interesting.
So, yep. The first card that we have is the subject card. Is the warrior. It's the Master of Swords. And he raises an eyebrow because this is not normally a card that comes up for him. In referring to him. Yeah, she looks up at you, Lin, and goes, "This would fit more with you than with me." Hold on. Pulls another card. That is the 6 of Stars. The Evoker. Interesting. Alright. Pulls up the 6 of Stars to clarify. Master of Swords, the leader of the Suit of Swords. Strength and force, violence. People use such things to accomplish their goals, with the clarification of the Evoker. Magical supernatural power that can't be controlled, with the use of magic for destructive ends. I think the subject is supposed to be less important here. then the past, future, and the thing that creates it. After all, those are where our Heidegg are. The artifact, an item of importance. Something that must be protected or destroyed. Or found.
Okay.
The opposition, the dungeon, isolation and imprisonment. Or being so stuck and conservative in your ways of thinking as to be a prisoner of your beliefs. And the possible future, the Dark Lord. I don't think I need to explain this card particularly.
Do it anyway.
Rolls his eyes, but obligingly goes, a single powerful individual of an evil nature. Someone whose goals have enormous, far-reaching consequences. I think that fits our thrall to a T.
Indeed. Right.
Hold on. Pulls another card. Oh, it's more Heidegg. Pulls another card to clarify. That is... Huh. Beast. Yes.
Well, that's interesting.
It can, obviously, be rather literal, something bestial and malevolent hiding in plain sight. However, it can also just be great rage or passion.
Interesting.
He's squinting at these cards. The last card, the miser. Hoarded wealth, people who think money is meaningless, or people who are irreversibly unhappy. As an ally, a friend, or a boon. Something good related to the subject. Both rather negative cards to have as both boon and opposition.
Indeed. Can't quite match boon to anything. Not off the top of my head. Oh, I guess it'll show itself when the time's right.
I'm not sure this reading is about me.
She's full on just, she'd been sitting with one of her arms like propped on the arm of the chair so that she could lean over with her head in her hand, and she does look up at you again and straighten up again.
There's an almost thoughtful frown on his face as he regards these cards. The importance of something that must be obtained in the past, opposed by a thinking pattern that you are stuck in.
Mm-hmm.
which eventually turns you into a creature most powerful and most evil. Think. I think this is about the thrall.
Mm. It would fit.
In that scope, then, we have seen that the thrall is not unwilling to get their hands dirty to accomplish what they want, and they are certainly very destructive.
Indeed.
And someone who is irreversibly unhappy would fit their, unwilling roommate.
Indeed. It would indeed. Oh.
Then why would this come up when looking at me? Let me try something else. And he picks up all the cards, shuffles the deck again.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have to consult my guide, because I don't do this kind of reading very often.
Oh-ho!
Okay. Right. I don't know if you can hear me shuffling these cards, but...
I can faintly, and I love it.
Okay. Cut the deck. Cut the deck again, because I saw the bottom card. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so I'm doing this... Facing that way, turn that way, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5. I need more space on my desk. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
That just gives me the
high deck this time.
Ooh. It does give me the mental image of they started out on one of those small coffee tables to do this.
Yeah.
For this reading, Lin had to get an unseen servant to drag over another table because shit, we ran out of room.
Let me actually move my mouse out of my dice box because I'm gonna need that. Fuck. I really don't have enough room on this table.
Did this to the you!
I did do this to the me. This is why I don't do tower readings very often, because they take up so much fucking room. Put those there. That can go there. I need this back. Okay. Right. You know what? I'm just gonna type stuff on my phone.
Yay!
That is that one. Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. Okay. 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 Where did this go? Okay. Right. Oh, we're back to Master of Swords, the subject. Okay, so 1, 2. That is 3. 4. That's up. 9. Is that glyphs? That's glyphs. And then we get to the new cards. Okay. Right. Interesting. 3 glyphs. Um, okay, possible outcomes. Right, there we go. Now that I know what I'm referring to. Good golly goshness. Alright. You see why I don't fucking do this reading much? There's 11 cards to deal with here. Okay, right. So, Master of Swords again for our subject. Past detail of the evoker. Now, magic is destruction would make sense given these. But those glyphs, they're unusual. I'll look at that in a moment. Opposition is the 6 of coins. It's the beggar. Some change in economic status, but I think in this instance it's in its aspect of a sudden change in fortune. Which... That is the opposition. Perhaps them finally achieving... Finally getting what they want will be their downfall. Or at the very least the start of it. Possible future. Oh, no. Other way. Opposition is the master. I read this the wrong way around. Opposition is the master of stars. The wizard. Mysteries and riddles, or the unknown, or things that crave magical power and knowledge. Perhaps they are their own worst enemy. Their possible future is the 6 of coins. Change in fortune.
Okay.
I suppose that is what we're hoping for. The 9 of glyphs is as an ally, friend, or boon. The 9 of glyphs. Oh dear.
I hate it when you say "oh dear."
I don't say it very often.
Exactly why it's worrying.
The 9 of glyphs is the traitor.
I see.
I think that should speak for itself. It's not always literal. Sometimes it is simply representative of a loss of faith, but... well. Now, we look at the past. Because to see the future, we must first look at how it formed. Past cards are to be taken together. And we have 2 glyphs and high deck. This is the most important part of the reading. We have the missionary. We have the druid. We have the innocent. Warnings of fear and ignorance. Inner turmoil. Someone of great importance whose life is in danger.
Please clarify for me. I admit I don't understand all of this. Is this in relation to them, someone of great importance to them, or is it someone in general, like to us?
I think I think this was Matthias. Again,
Mhm.
these cards reference the past, events that have already happened.
Indeed.
From the way you said it was explained, none of those clerics knew what was going to happen until it did. They were
Indeed.
innocents.
Interesting.
The missionary warning of the spread of ignorance can also quite literally mean those who spread wisdom and faith. A cleric would fit that bill. And druids, they also represent the ambivalence and cruelty of nature. The erasure events, they are a natural process. They are just something that happens, cruel and untamed, but not malevolent.
No.
I think this, combined with this destructive magic as signified by the evoker, I think this is describing that event. That formation of the thrall.
Fascinating.
And now, having looked at the past, we can try and perceive the future.
Mm-hmm.
The first outcome is the 3 of coins. It's the trader, representing quite literally commerce, quite literally smuggling in black markets, but in a more vague sense, fair and equitable trades. You get something when you give something. You give something to get something. Things of equal value being exchanged.
That is something they're all about. Their
True.
deals. Trades.
But
Mm-hmm.
hold on. And he draws another card. Sighs, because it's the fucking Dark Lord. That's what I thought. Whatever trade it is they're seeking to do, whatever exchange it is they're seeking to make, it will put a great evil in place.
That does make sense.
What is it that they want?
Gods, I wish I could actually remember. I am good at my words, but sometimes terminology escapes me. And this is where, out of character for a moment, which one did we say was the pillar? It wasn't
Erasure.
destroy. Yeah, I know I know it's the erasure, but what is Thrall planning to do to it? It's not destroy. Was it replace?
He wants to replace it.
Yeah. So Lin will just, after a moment of very clear thinking, just go. Thrall wants to replace the pillar of erasure. My guess would be replace it with what's left inside of them of their god. To do that, you'd need, I don't know, a conduit? Something to
You'd
funnel
need a
through?
host. You'd need to destroy enough of the Erasure's power that what's left of Ongum can replace it. But then you'd need something to host that power. Someone or something powerful enough to survive it and strong enough to hold on to it, but weak enough that Thrall could manipulate them into holding it, or perhaps broken enough that it will fit. There is a reason that after Rikishi, the Weave made a new Fate of Chaos. That kind of power is not something you hold lightly. That is an outcome that we cannot allow to succeed.
Indeed. We won't.
Which brings me on to the next outcome. 4 stars. The Abjura. On its own, it represents people who follow logic, or warns of overlooked information. As an outcome, as an outcome, it suggests that we are missing something. Something, whatever will happen, it will happen because we failed to notice something, failed to take it into account. He draws another card to get a clarification. And gets the beast again.
I would like to say, as this has all been going through, Lynn is refusing to interrupt Decimal. She has gone several shades paler. She is going sepia almost at points.
We are overlooking something.
But it... something, someone, some aspect.
The beast warns of something malevolent hiding in plain sight. I don't think that's what it's trying to say. I think have you ever seen the thrall angry?
Yes, once, I think. When we got Memoir out, I think they were angry then. When they were, I mean, more of their eyes were showing than usual when they were staring at Asclepius. They've been angry at Craigery before. I think they were furious in that moment.
They were angry at me, too.
Indeed. They're a vengeful person. They've getting more outwardly vengeful. What they did to Gibbs. Such a hollow being, they have quite a lot of anger in them.
He puts a finger down on the oh, words out of my brain, on the Trader Beast combo, and goes, if this outcome is the thrall succeeding, I think this outcome is an interruption.
Something ruining their plan.
Not necessarily ruining it, but definitely getting in the way of it. And making them angry. I can't say what exactly might cause it, but either us or them or both will miss something, and it will make them angry. And their rage will be the outcome.
Hopefully it will be their undoing and not undoing of everything.
That remains to be seen. And so we come to our final future. The Two of Coins, the philanthropist. Charity on a grand scale. People who use wealth to fight evil.
Interesting.
That almost seems out of place. And he draws another clarification card and gets the miser again. The miser and the swashbuckler, and the miser and the philanthropist in combination.
Seems a bit
Curious
oxymoronic.
pairing. Yeah.
Huh.
He actually genuinely looks baffled at that. You can see it in the slight widening of his eyes.
Intriguing.
That is... They are functionally opposites. I am...
Hmm. Could be the clash is something of significance. Again, this is not my department. This is yours, and now Krieger's.
Perhaps if it were a dropped card, but... The outcome. The outcome is the philanthropist. That is the focus.
Okay.
Using wealth to fight evil. Perhaps some kind of spell with a massive material component cost?
There are quite a few on that front.
Yes. Well, I would assume I'm not intimately familiar with particularly high power spells, for what I should assume would be obvious reasons.
You and me both.
You at the very least have the benefit of living cheek to cheek with some rather high powered casters.
Indeed. Out of context, I would... Again, it's not my domain. And she does, like, gesture at the thing, just go... This kind of card almost seems to fit this town. The amount of wealth they've put into everything to help people. The material cost on that front, that side of things. Also the sheer amount of magic put into everything. Everything that... Yeah.
You gestured for you to carry on.
She does kind of look for a moment as though, oh shit, I'm talking now. Great. You've said there's 3 futures, and articulating words isn't what I'm good at anymore. I've got all the plans and the connections in my head. I can't articulate as well as I once did. But from what I'm seeing here, is you said that money for great good. So it almost seems as though this town and this town coming off... I mean, this entire fight has basically boiled down to people within town versus Thrall. Everyone who's connected to this has migrated to at least circle this town. So maybe that's the future we win. I don't know. Again...
No, that fits. The philanthropist isn't money exclusively, it's wealth. Whether that wealth be actual financial wealth, or a wealth of connections, or a wealth of information, or...
Which is all things that apply here to Halloween Town. I mean, all of our connections, everything all circles. It keeps circling back to here. Pick Thrall directly used Gibbs as a prisoner of war to call out to the mayor and his husband.
And that explains the miser. We have so much wealth here, we have hoarded it.
Right.
It is this place. It is this people.
Right. Huh. Okay.
So we have the good, the bad, and the ugly. And he gestures at the third outcome, the first outcome, and the second outcome as he says that.
Yeah. Intriguing. Is there any way to tip scales? I mean, I know we're missing something, but the most annoying thing about a case is when you know you're missing a clue and it compels you, but you can't get it until the right moment. And this really does seem to be a, we'll miss it till it hits us. We'll just have to weather it, which I hate it when that fucking happens.
Ask me about an action, and he pulls the cards back together and starts shuffling them again. Ask me about an action that you could take.
And she pauses for a long moment. And she is struggling to think and just like a question or an action specific. I don't understand all of this, I admit.
Ask me a question on the lines of what will happen if I do this? Something like that.
Or a how can we? Would that work?
Yes. A how can we would also work.
Or how can we seven survive? Would that work?
How can my seven survive? I think I can work with this.
Sorry, I know I'm not always.
No, it's fine. It's fine. This kind of question is. I tend to take more questions on a general what will my future look like because it's easier. A question of a direct path, what might happen if you take a certain action, is rather more difficult to sequence. Particularly if you don't know the person very well, you don't necessarily know how they would react or how things would react to them. But
indeed.
I think I know us well enough.
If you'd be willing after this, would you be willing to do one more reading? You can say no.
I can give it a shot.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Okay. How can we seven survive? And then he starts pulling out cards. And I can continue shuffling because I keep pulling out the same fucking cards. God damn it.
Shuffle.
I'm trying to shuffle quickly and it means I'm shuffling badly. Okay, right. Let's pull from the bottom. Let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's me. Okay. Now I pull back out my phone to try and tap this all up. Right.
Hey!
What's your time? Let's date. Yes. Projection is. Oh. Okay. Alright. Interesting.
Your voice just changed and it fills me with fear.
Eh.
Also, can I just...
Eh.
Okay,
Alright, well, we have two high cards in this reading, and they're not great. And they're not in great positions either. Okay.
I find it very amusing what I did with the title card, seeing as how many times the cards
Yeah!
have been used.
Uh, it's definitely something. Um,
The brain knew. The brain knew.
okay, there we go, right. Ay, 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 ay. Okie dokie. Right, let's get into it. So, subjects, we have the Six of Swords this time, which is the Berserker. I believe that was Lin's card.
It was!
Interesting. Alright, well that makes sense. This is about her. This is about you. This is your card. That does make sense. So, past detail. 5 of Stars. 5 of Stars, the Elementalist, tribe of nature of a civilization, or natural disasters, or bountiful harvests. Clarification being the 7 of Stars, the Illusionist. Lies and deceit, grand conspiracies, the presence of a saboteur or a secret society. I think that this past result is talking about your gestures at your shoulder.
That would
I
make
am
sense.
a master of tact. So moving to the present state, we have a glyph and we have a sword. The sword is not unexpected. The glyph, it kind of is. Well, no, actually, no, it's not. This is the bishop. That, if I was going to pick a glyph card to represent you, I probably would pick the bishop. It's people who plot, plan, and scheme, or people who adhere strictly to a code or belief. Just gives you a look. Clarification. Being paladin, again tying into that code of honor, someone who is just and noble, well, specifically a warrior who is just and noble. This is you as the detective. I suspect this is supposed to be you puzzling out this future. Gestures at the cards.
Okay.
This is where things get interesting. These are the results to focus on. You asked how we survive. And up comes the ghost. History is cyclical, and this is no more represented than in the ghost. The ghost is the looming past. It is the return of an old enemy, or the discovery of a long-forgotten secret.
Okay.
We will uncover things about the past. Or something from the past will return. This is not necessarily a bad thing.
Indeed.
It could be something we could twist to our benefit.
We do like that.
Although the necromancer implies otherwise. Well, does it?
Explain to me what it means. I've got a few ideas. We'll see.
Unhealthy obsessions. People who follow paths of destruction. Things, events, occurrences that are unnatural.
Mm. Okay. Hang on, let me get a pad of paper. And she does go into hammer space as she's doing this.
Yep.
Pull it out.
It would be so fucking funny if she fumbled right now.
Yeah, no, she's not allowed. If she did, she would have stopped and just gone, "You give," or politely ask Kara. We ain't about that. Just
yeah. I think by this point, by the by, Kara has brought the tea, and there are cups of tea for the both of them. Lin will notice that it has been laced with painkillers for her.
She does. It is quiet, but it is just a natural reflexive thank you in giant. And she noticed it. And she starts just like writing in shorthand with her left hand. I'll switch to my tail when we need to. And she does actually stop, put the pen in at the crook of her tail and sign, and she's still writing in this very shorthand.
Richly impressive.
I trained myself in it. I can write with all 5 limbs. 4.5 now, and she gestures at her hand, her right hand.
Oh, don't sell yourself short. Pulls off his glove with his own busted hand. If I can adapt to this fucking thing, I think you can do just fine.
What was left there was it's gonna go. And eventually I'm gonna lose the hand eventually. Or I don't know.
Well, the old cleric can help with that. He's probably high enough level that he can regenerate body parts.
We'd have to see if something let it. But not right now.
Yes, we do have other things to focus on. So, Ghost, Necromancer, Wombo combo. I do believe that they are connected. I don't think that this Necromancer is a different action.
A different action to the buried secret, the twist?
Yes.
Or okay, so it's related.
The way the extended cross works is that these cards, these second set, and he gestures because it's laid out in a cross. You've got a card in the middle and then 2 cards above, below, and on either side. He gestures to the cards on the outmost ring. These cards can provide clarification to the cards immediately next to them, or in the case of these 2, and he points to the 2 on the outmost side for the future and for the result, they can provide a different result or a different action. They could show something else you could do and what else could result from that.
Okay.
But in this case, I do think that these are tied to one action, one revelation of the past. I think there is still yet more we learn.
Okay.
When we do learn it, we then have our outcomes.
Okay.
And the other important result.
Mm-hmm.
The executioner is imminent death of one convicted of crime, rightly or wrongly, it doesn't matter. False accusations and unjust prosecutions also fall into this card, but I think given the threat that we face, imminent death is more likely.
Of who? Would that be able to be narrowed down with this?
Well, let's look at the other card. We have the one of glyphs. The monk. The monk is a peaceful card. It is serene. It is self-reliance, inner strength, confidence, but not arrogance.
Okay.
Whatever we uncover, I think these are separate outcomes. Whatever we uncover, either it will destabilize us or it will bring us together. Or rather, I should say, whatever you discover, it will destabilize or bring you together.
Okay. Narrows it down, but there's a few avenues.
Yes. Let me... And he draws another 2 cards. Yeek. You are very about this one, aren't you?
Please, is it the Dark Lord again?
It's not the Dark Lord again. No, I drew a high deck card to clarify the high deck card. Roll insight again.
Okay.
And this time I'm doing it at disadvantage.
Alright. Give me a sec. That is a... Pardon me. Ooh! 19 plus 6.
That's enough, I think. That's enough.
Yes!
Okay, so...
Holy shit!
Decimal pulls 2 clarification cards, and as he puts the first one down, he actually flinches. Because that clarification card for the executioner is the marionette. He flinches and he swallows, and then puts the other card down.
She thinks she's made a few connections with that. Okay. Problem is whether she says this now or after the reading. How in focus does Decimal get with readings?
That entirely depends what you mean. Because this does require some focus. It does take, you know, it takes at least a little bit of brain power to see what the cards are, pause the meanings, and try and figure out what they're trying to say. But he's not entirely distracted, especially not now, because he's so fucking hypervigilant. He would notice if Lin moved. He would probably notice if Lin's face changed.
He's gonna wait. At least until after the marionette. We'll see.
Our first clarification card. the marionette. Whatever crime... No, not whatever crime. The crime this person is being accused of. They helped the thrall. Whether they did so willingly or otherwise, they helped the thrall, and they will pay for it. Moving on to our other clarification, we have the two glyphs. The missionary. It's a warning.
A warning of what?
The spread of fear or ignorance. Either you uncover something and it leads you to accuse someone of helping the thrall, and they pay for it, or you discover something and it gives you some stability or perhaps some closure or some confidence, and you are able to bolster others with it.
All right. Right. I can roll with that. I can roll with that.
It's going to pull all the cards together again. Now, what was the other reading you wanted me to do?
Before we go into that, you had no reaction when I said the 7. You already knew.
I may have spoken to no more. Is that all, or?
Give me a... I've quite literally got brain damage, decimal. It takes me a few seconds to think sometimes. Might as well be blunt. You flinched during that reading. What were you thinking of?
He doesn't answer straight away. He just continues shuffling. Seems to be pondering his words quite intently. And he goes, well, I'm thinking many things. I'm thinking that the last time that card showed up, during plot important events, shall we say, it showed up on a whim, falling out of my coat pocket after I was knocked unconscious by a blast of necrotic energy. Roll insight. See if you catch him in the lie.
Holy shit!
Did you get that 20? Good, because you rolled a 5. He is lying to your face.
Decimal. For all you've seen me, I see you. Don't do this. When did it really happen? Please.
That's not a lie. That is genuinely when that last card showed up.
And what else happened around it?
Well, a man almost died.
Ooh.
A man entirely unrelated to these events. I think he's actually still in the cathedral. I really haven't been keeping up with that particular thing since I made my exodus from it.
The cathedral, cathedral, is this?
It's not something you need to concern yourself with.
Maybe. There's darkness relation, potentially.
Yes, but I do not think that that particular person will be coming back. Sirius is on the side of the light, or at least once. We managed to break that necklace.
Interesting.
Either way, it's irrelevant. It's
Okay.
just a prominent memory.
Okay. And she leans back slightly. It doesn't feel like a
Doesn't feel like a
bad thing.
that is a 27. Did she wholly accept that answer? Yes.
She doesn't. But it might surprise Decimal. But he can see trust in her eyes. She has trust in him. Say what needs to be said to clarify things. He's with that higher role. Decimal's been worried about Lin spiraling. That's why she's not allowed to know certain things, or was. He doesn't see someone who's going to spiral at any second, doesn't see someone who's going to get angry and start accusing. Those eyes are old. They are impossibly old for the chronological age you know she is. And she is accepting. She doesn't believe you fully. She trusts that you could say more, or you could let it lie. She's putting it in your hands.
There's a split-second moment of hesitation where he weighs up. whether or not he speaks, whether or not he admits the truth, part of it, whether he continues to keep quiet. I think he sighs and goes, "There are some things that I am partial to that I cannot share."
Okay.
But I trust that you will plan for every outcome.
I do my best.
Well, your apophenia has to be good for something. Now, what was the question? What was the reading?
Their expression does fall for a moment. I'm gonna roll with what you'd said before about, or not what you'd said, what you'd rolled. Just there is something somber in the way she's looking. Someone who's weighing contingencies and choices, and that reading you gave. Someone who's looking at doom and clinging to hope anyway, as she thinks how to word, and she just goes, I was always a selfish one. You and I both know the order that's likely to happen. If I take the action I've thought of, will it actually help him?
No. It won't. I don't need the cards to tell me that.
You see something break in our eyes. Not something that will spiral, not something that will cause anything, just this monkey was already broken, but she won't shatter. She just goes, okay then. Well, that's that.
The question that you ask is a complicated one. There is a lot that hangs in the balance yet. If you did choose to do what I think you're going to do, or think you thought of doing, to put it rather clunkily, it would deeply hurt him that you would simply give up like that. But he would understand why you did it, and he would not begrudge you. Well, I suspect the only thing it would serve in that immediate moment is to prevent you some pain. If you do not fight being taken, they will not fight you. But do I think it would help him? I don't. Because we don't really have a firm guarantee that they will leave you alone. That you will be nothing but a pawn. After all, like you said, they are vengeful and they have been unpredictable as of late. If
Indeed.
this were around the time that I was taken, or that Gregory was taken, or hell, even the time that Hugh was taken, still. I would have said yes. It would not help him directly, not in that moment, but it would mean we were in shape quicker to be able to come help and rescue him. But the thrall has gotten angry, and angry people lash out. We both saw what happened to Gibbs.
Indeed. Thing I can come up with multiple contingencies within a plan. She closes her eyes a moment, and she straightens up. I don't plan on doing anything reckless. I'm not going to actively sue them. Maybe once upon a time, but ironically, you actually helped me with that when you, Hugh, and Craigery got me into that therapy.
Don't ever make me test my bluff again.
I won't, but with your talk on narratives before then, we work within them. I can't avoid this. These points, they are inevitable, but I'm not going to pursue it. When it comes, it'll come. Until then, I'm taking steps to stay in town. Of course, I gotta go out. I'm fighting a blooming pick in war against a volleyball head. But I'm putting steps in place. And we're all gonna get out of this, Decimal. It's gonna heckin' hurt. We're gonna be in so much fucking pain. But we're gonna survive it and we're gonna come home. And that includes you and your brothers. Okay?
Oh, you've got to be shitting me.
What?
So I've been absent-mindedly shuffling my cards, right?
Yeah?
I dropped a card as you were saying that.
What? What did you get? What did you get? What did you fucking get?
I dropped the Horseman.
Oh my god!
I'm not even gonna make you roll for this. As he's shuffling these cards as you're saying this, one slips out and falls down on the table. And he looks down and goes pale.
Whose card is that?
The Horseman. It's the card of the outer sign Rikishi. And no matter what, it signals death.
And her eyes, they do go down to it. There is a slight growl in the back of her throat, but it is very soft.
I think even if we do make it out of this alive, someone's going to die first.
And we plan for it. Forewarned is forearmed.
I think that's a good place to end this FPS.
Indeed.
bitch, son of a bitch.
Oh my fucking god!
Ugh.
Well, everyone, that was Forewarned and Forearmed. I hope you enjoyed it.
Hex, Kraken. Listen.
Listen.
Why did your readings in this? This was entirely just like, hey, I can do this. Fuck it, I want to do this. We're doing this.
It's almighty.
I'm gonna turn my recording off now.